So the next body system that we want to talk about is we want to talk about the GI system. Now, the GI system is one of the more important aspects of all of our systems within our body. This is what's going to bring nutrients into the body, remove toxins from the body. Up to 70% of our immune system is housed within our gut. So if we have issues within our gut, we're going to have the effects throughout the rest of our body. From not sleeping right, to gaining weight, to our hormones not being correct. There are so many things that plays a part of this, and it's very integral, and everything is interconnected. So the next test that I want to show you today is our GI effects test. So this is a Genova test. This is one that's a stool sample, and what you're doing is you're collecting a stool sample, sending it off, and then they're looking for different things within your stool. So this patient allows me to show her records. However, I have blocked off the name just to keep it a little bit more private. But this is the same patient that we were talking about with our organic acid test, and so this is our lovely little 57-year-old lady who's having some of those problems within her big five. And so I want you to take a look here. So just like that organic acids test, it's going to give us an overview. So it's going to show us if we're having issues with maldigestion. So these are going to be the organs of digestion: the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the liver, the intestines. It's going to show us if we have issues with inflammation within the body, mainly related to the gut. The other thing that it's going to show is if we have dysbiosis. Now, dysbiosis can be an overgrowth or an undergrowth of good or commensal bacteria. It can also be an overgrowth of pathogenic bacteria. It can be an overgrowth of yeast. It could be different things within the body that we need to address and fix. The other thing that we're going to see here is the need for probiotic support with our metabolic imbalances. And then finally, infection. Again, this can be bacteria, yeast, this can be parasites, and creepy little things that might be living within your GI system. So this again is just our overview page, and it just gives us kind of an idea what's going on. Now, as we come in here, you will see that this is just a generalized idea of where you fall within the category of your commensal bacteria. Now, commensal bacteria, again, is the good bacteria that helps break down the food, helps transport it over to the right vitamins, minerals, to break it down into amino acids, and to begin that energy production. So as you can see here in this patient, not in the best cohort for commensal bacteria. So this patient has a need for digestive enzymes, better chewing, and eating more vegetables. Now there's a second page here that just gives you another idea, and it'll show you your relative commensal abundance, which ones are high, which ones are low, and then it shows it again on, not this page, but the next page. Now this page right here is going to start with our digestion and absorption. So this shows us our organs of digestion. So it can show our pancreatic enzymes, it can show how we are taking up fecal fats, how our long chain fatty acids are, our triglyceride balance. And you can see there is some need for some support here. And so we need to support those organs of digestion. Now, our next section here is inflammation and immunology. So a couple things here. This patient looks great, but I'm just going to point out a few things here. Calprotectin. When this goes up, we have concerns for cancer, especially if we're seeing occult blood within the GI testing as well. And we'll see that on another page here. Eosinophilic issues, this usually lets us know if there's parasitic infections. And if we're having a high fecal secretory IgA, this can let us know that your body is trying to fight infection or we have some parasites going on. Now, we're going to be looking at the metabolites within the gut. Remember, metabolites are things being broken down that need to be removed from the body. So we're looking at things like short-chain fatty acids and butyrate and beta-glucuronidase. With the short-chain fatty acids and butyrates, this helps to fight inflammation. This also shows that when we have a normal amount of butyrate and short-chain fatty acids within the body, this is actually beneficial to the brain and can help grow the brain and help with new neuronal pathways within the brain, which will help you to think better, have less brain fog, more cognitive support. Now, beta-glucuronidase is important because this lets me know if estrogen metabolites are being reabsorbed into the body. Remember, estrogen is a steroid hormone, so it needs to be detoxified through the liver, through our phase 1 pathway and phase 2 pathway, and then is it excreted through the bile or through the urine. So if we are seeing a high beta-glucuronidase, that means the estrogen metabolites, the broken down stuff that we do not want in our body any longer, is being reabsorbed, which can lead to issues like cancer. Now, as we come through, commensal bacteria, again, these are our good bacteria. This is what helps keep the body in check and helps our body to do what it's supposed to. And you can see we've got several of them here that are out of bounds. It looks like we have about 8 or so that are not where they need to be, meaning that we need more bacteria within the gut to help heal our body. So there's a couple ways that we can do this. We can do this with digestive enzyme supports. We can do this by making sure that you're chewing your food correctly. That way we're getting enzymes within the food to help break down that food and help it to be able to be absorbed better by those commensal bacteria. And the other thing that I like patients to do is eat a cup of raw vegetables before each meal, about twice a day. Now this could be a salad, this could be cucumbers, celery, carrots, just some raw vegetables, and this will help build up that commensal bacteria. Now, as a rule of thumb, I want you to be eating about 20 servings of vegetables throughout the week. That includes fruits as well, but just those good sun-kissed, earth-loved fruits and vegetables. This is going to help create a better microbiome for your body so that you're not going to get as sick as often. Now, scrolling down through here, now we're going to be looking at the culture of the microbiome. So this is going to let me know if we have any pathogenic or non-pathogenic bacteria that's growing within the gut. And so you can see here we have some normal bacteria. These all look fine. And then we have one that is out of bounds. This is fallen into that third quintile with our yeast. So this is Candida tropicalis. Candida tropicalis is a systemic type yeast. Typically this is hospital acquired. It is hard to fight, and if this yeast builds up in the body or gets into the bloodstream, then this could mean death for the patient pretty quickly. So this is one that we don't want to waste time on. Coming through here, this is looking to see if there's any fun little worms within the GI system, and thankfully we don't have anything going on here. Coming into this is going to be looking at some of the bacteria that can be pathogenic and have issues. We're also looking to see if there's any fecal occult blood. Now, if we are finding fecal occult blood, this could be issues with IBS. This could be issues with polyps. This could be other issues within the body. However, if it's elevated in conjunction with that calprotectin, then we worry about colon cancer. And so this is a patient that we would end up referring out to GI just to rule out colon cancer before we do any treatments. They look at it under a microscope just to make sure that there are no worms, no eggs, anything like that. We also are looking for things like H. pylori. Now, H. pylori is an infection that can cause a lot of problems within the body. And when you first get it, you may not even know that you have it. So we want to make sure that there's no issues with H. pylori. Sometimes if there is, we'll be doing things like mastica gum or prebiotics. Sometimes we may need to do a round of antibiotics. The problem with antibiotics, though, is that we will be wiping out all of these beautiful commensal bacteria when we put a patient on antibiotics. So we try to stay away from that as much as possible. Now, as we move on down through here, then we're going to have a sensitivity test. And so this is looking at that Candida tropicalis, and it lets me know what medication, whether that is a prescriptive like diflucan, or if we are doing something more like a natural agent like garlic or berberine to help get rid of it, it's going to give me the sensitivities for those and help guide us along the path. Now, I had spoke to you in the previous lecture about the organic acids test and how we were looking at this patient, and we were looking to see if there was any issues with heavy metals. One of the most common heavy metals that we find around here is actually mercury. Mercury can come from those silver fillings within your mouth. It can come from eating too many fish products, tuna products, or products that are high in mercury. So you can see here we scored less than 1 on that, which is good. Arsenic can be found in a lot of things. It can be found in smoke. It can be found in contaminated water, contaminated soil. There are a lot of things arsenic can be found in. So we want to make sure that stays nice and low. And then, of course, lead. We really want to double check lead in a lot of patients because this can cause a lot of neurological defects within the mind. It can cause some issues with absorption and excretion as well. And then I also had talked to you about, we also looked at some cancer markers on this patient just because some of her levels were a little bit higher than I would like. With her serotonin levels, and we were looking to see what her 5-OH was, it was very, very elevated. So we want to go in and we want to make sure that there's no issues with cancer going on in there. And so these are just a couple of the cancer markers that we look at. So some of these will relate to brain, some of these will relate to ovaries, some of these will relate to liver, some of these will relate to stomach, some of these relate to the liver as well. So we go through and we look at those. But just as a food for thought here, taking a look at her thyroid testing, and TSH is a little bit lower than I would like. I would like that to be between 1.8 and 3.5. So that lets me know that she probably has issues with absorption of selenium and iodine. And then coming up to look at the T3 here, T3 needs to be a little bit closer to 4, so she's not getting the energy production that she needs. So this is most likely a conversion disorder from T4 over to T3, where she's not getting their adequate amounts of selenium. But we will talk about that at her next appointment. So if you're wanting to get in for a stool test and take a look at some of these more functional tests, let me know. I hope that you have a healthy, wonderful, beautiful day.